Yo, once again, welcome to another episode of I'm Not Supposed to Be Here.
I'm not supposed to be here.
Hey.
I generally was supposed to leave just now, but I'm not supposed to be here. I'm back. I'm here.
Hey, he's here. And who we're talking about is my man.
Hi, I'm Andre Sobers. Nice to meet you, everybody. I'm from Queens. I don't know what else to say about myself.
You've said enough, sir. You've said enough, sir. You said your first and last name and where you're from.
Yeah,
I'm also joined by
Christian, your usual host, Eclectic Sage in the building.
And you heard my voice. You heard me on the last episode and the episode before that, and so on. I'm Trent L. Dickson.
Woo! The man on the boards.
And we're back with another exciting episode. Is it exciting? Is that too high of expectation to say exciting?
Every episode is exciting. It's always a great conversation for this podcast.
We have new things to talk about, and I have random things I would like to get off my mind. So, yes.
What's random on your mind?
What's on your mind?
I gotta make some shit up.
I wasn't ready.
See, we call your bluff. That's why this is
They
a
got me
great.
good, boys. They got me good. I was thinking very regular things.
Now you gotta amp it up.
I was gonna say,
Tell some
I
lies.
love roti, which is a Trinidadian. It's really an Indian thing, but
Can you explain roti?
Yes.
so
'Cause
at
not
some
everybody's
point,
familiar.
okay, so Trinidad is a country in the Caribbean where they had black slaves, but they also had indentured Indian servants. So basically, the population is very mixed. I'm black. And roti is a food that a lot of people eat in India. It's kind of like dough. Think about it like a big flatbread, basically. And you usually just break it apart and dip it into curries or stews or really anything. It's kind of like I could relate it to like fufu or anything that you would just break off and dip. Like you could think about it like a piece of bread and some soup. Like you're just using it to pick up the other food. But I love it.
It does taste pretty good though.
It sounds like it tastes good.
Yeah. I love. I have a friend that's Trinidadian, but he's like Indian Trinidadian, and I love people from the island. I always want to go visit because, like you said, like it's like interesting, like diaspora type of history, type of thing. Especially for
there's also
for
like a
Trinidad.
lot of Venezuelan people because it's right off the coast of Venezuela. So there's a lot of the ethnic makeup of the country is very interesting. You can get any type of food there. It's crazy. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. What you been thinking about lately, Trent?
I think about it a lot. I had this really weird moment the other night. I was where was I going? I think I was going to pick up food. That's normally where I'm. That's where I'm going on my late night walks. So I like to walk around Queens at some odd time in the night. But I was my mind was heavy. I had this really crazy situation. It's involving someone I care about, which could result in death. And I was like on the verge of tears, and I was just like feeling all these different things. And I look up, and coming, from I'm on the the right side of the street, and directly in front of me is this white woman, and she sees me, and I've got my hood on.
Oh no!
And immediately she starts looking around, and then she rushes to get on the other side of the street. And it completely takes me out of my mood. And it was
whole time,
so funny.
Trent is just walking to get some roti.
Yeah, can I get my roti in peace?
That's what I'm saying. Niggas
Without
can't just
being
get their
profiled.
food, bro.
But I mean, I don't know. It was just so interesting. Thank you, random white lady, for lifting my mood and running,
With your
scurrying across the street. Yes, with your racism. I mean, in all honesty, though, would I be scared of me if I was walking at some,
some odd hour of the night?
Queens,
I don't
yeah,
know.
I'm gonna keep walking. I'm gonna keep walking.
Put yourself in the white woman's shoes.
I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I've seen white people on the street, and I'm crossing the street myself.
I'm not gonna lie, I done that.
I don't know what y'all
But is it-
on. I don't know what coke y'all did today. I don't know how many vapes. I don't know how many cherry, blueberry, pineapple cheesecake vapes y'all done hit at the bar today?
Y'all
might be ready
keeps
to bug out.
growing.
Man.
No, a lot of times, sometimes I'll cross the street to make people feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't do that so much anymore. I try to be self-aware, but sometimes it's like it's easier, because you don't want people to feel threatened.
Yeah, definitely.
Unfortunately.
I what I do sometimes is, especially like if I'm walking behind like a young lady or something, I'm just like, yeah,
Start
let me
speed walking.
Yep, I start
Sprinting
Yo,
past
I
the
start
city.
sprinting.
You're not gonna feel danger.
Exactly. It's like
Look how safe I am.
it's like those little things. Like I don't want you to like hold your keys like by like just getting ready. I'm just like, nah, don't even stress it. Like
Yeah,
I'm
relax,
fast.
bro.
Like
I'm going home. I'm going home to lay down.
that's my main concern.
Scratch my balls and shit in my bed. I don't want shit to do with you. I'm more scared of you than you scared of me.
Facts. Speaking of like going around people, there was another time where, once again, it was when I was working overnights, and I would immediately after. Maybe that's where I developed this philosophy of like working out right when you get out for work, because I know how working overnights gets you exhausted, especially when you're doing 12-hour shifts, 6 to 6. So I would immediately go to the track, start working out. Do whatever I had at my regiment. And then there was this old Indian couple that came out to the track. Mind you, I was there before them, right?
Yeah.
And so they had to see me running, right? Because it's not like it had a couple dark spots, but it's not a dark track. It was lit. And then like I'm running past them and I'm like, on your left, and this old Indian lady jumps out of her shoes like she never saw me coming. It's crazy. Whoa! It was like cartoonish how crazy her reaction is. It's just funny.
She felt a black presence behind her. Oh my goodness, Harold! There's a black man.
That's why she didn't throw her purse at me.
Oh man, but you know what's interesting? I didn't think about this before, and I didn't bring it up last episode. But the both of you guys are like from Queens, and
Gang.
Yeah, how do you?
What part of Queens?
South Jamaica.
Okay.
Rochdale Village.
I'm a Sunnyside / Long Island City. I'm like right on the dividing line. Damn, I'm just giving up all my info on there.
Oh man,
Lord, I said my whole name before something goes. I'm
I
gonna keep it the way my buildings are set up. You're not finding me.
I'll leave it at that.
Queens is actually pretty big, though.
Yeah, Queens is a really diverse thing.
I don't think I've been
Queens.
this far out in Queens, other than like
Really?
riding to and from the airport.
Yeah, this is terrible commute. I'm coming from the Bronx to the side of Queens, and
whenever I have to go to an open mic in the Bronx,
yeah, this is how it
and
feels.
that shit finish at 12. I hope y'all know I'm not getting home till like 4 or 5 a.m.
Yeah,
and I be coming up. I be going because I'm not gonna lie. I love y'all performances, bro. They're so enjoyable that I can really just be like, fuck it. Because, like, bro, sometimes I just sit there and I'm high already, right? So I already smoked some weed and it's like, yo, bro, I can listen to the same music I've listened to for the last 50 plus days, or I can go hear live performances of people I know. And that's so cool to hear the live music. It's like, yo, I've never heard this before. Especially if it's a banger and you've never heard it before.
That's a fact.
That's such a great feeling.
Especially with like independent artists, I feel like with those live performances, it any type of live performance like brings out the track, like the soul and the spirit of it. Absolutely. That a recording could just never capture. You can capture a good moment and good performance on a thing, but you can't capture the soul of it in the same way that a live performance can, because of all the nuance and having to mix the track and everything kind of takes some of that that weird roughness out.
But yeah, going to the Bronx just being in the Bronx at 11 and trying to get home to Queens, bro, you got to go through Harlem. So there's a whole one train full of crackheads, right? And there's like the crackheads, and then there's the white gentrifiers. And I swear I was on the train with Uni one time, and this white woman had her shoes off. She had her shoes off on the train. You dirty foot, dirty foot woman. But then it's like, yo, and then when you get off the train in Harlem, now you waiting for you might get off the train. Because the train might not be running to this station, so you might have to go down to 42nd Street. Now you're waiting for the F train or the J train. That's a whole other set of crackheads you gonna have to deal with. then you getting back to Queens 2 hours later. God forbid the train stops in the tunnel, because you know how the F train get.
Oh my gosh, the F train is the worst.
Honestly, traveling through multiple boroughs
Not a fun experience. And the crazy thing is that Bronx and Queens, if you're driving, it's a 20-minute commute.
Bro, it's dummy close.
It's so close. Like they should have a ferry. They should have something. It's so like mind-boggling because unless you
Q44
have,
is low-key one of the faster ones.
yeah.
But like going all the way through Manhattan, everything is always annoying.
Yeah, because taking a train, there's no train service, so like it just makes no sense to me that like a 30-minute trip is like an hour 30.
An hour. It's just 2 hours. What do you mean?
Well, sometimes I be catching
You
lucky
be
breaks.
getting lucky.
Yeah, and also I found like little cheat codes. Like if you walking from the 5, never take the 5, take the 2 to 42nd Street, and then from 42nd Street, hop in between the little tunnel connection that they just added. Hop over to the F train. It saves you like a good 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. That's
Damn.
like, yo,
That's a lot
they
of
didn't
work.
have that when I first started school. And when I tell you, taking the 5 to 59th to get on the F train because there's no
Through the rest
connection
of Queens.
to get to the other side of Queens and then hop on another bus. Oh my gosh, depressing.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. When I was coming here, I was looking at the train routes. I was like, nah, I'm just gonna take a Uber. I'm good.
When you said Uber, I was just like, I understand.
Yeah, I was like, not carrying this equipment. No.
yeah, because Queens is weird because it's mostly buses. That's the issue.
That's what I like about it, though.
It's good. I'm not gonna lie. Once you're used to it, but
Like I said, like in the last podcast, like once you really get to know New York, it's kind of easy. Like you get to know all the buses, and it's like, okay, this one's going in this direction. So if I get off here, I could probably walk to wherever the address is. Maybe
Yeah.
5 minutes, 4 blocks.
the thing is, with buses, they travel in herds, and that's the thing that gets me so mad. That like if you miss one bus, you miss 3.
Yeah, there's 3. There's
Facts.
there's actually. So you missed one that had about 4 people on it, but the 2 ahead actually had nobody on it. So you would have been chilling on the bus ride, but you actually missed that one. So the next one is gonna come in another 24 minutes, and it's gonna be like
50 people.
50 high school kids yelling at each other. And shit.
on the bus.
Jeez, the kids. One thing that I can say about riding the bus: 92% less crackheads, though.
Yeah,
Yo,
that's
bro,
a-
yo, for real.
No,
It's
the
nice.
bus is a
It's
better
nice.
experience.
Like, how come all the crackheads said, "Yo, I'm going underground"? y'all didn't-
I mean, you know,
No shame to crackheads
No
because
shame
they
to the
deserve
crackheads.
the love and care that they should get
Yes.
societally. But it is a little nerve wracking sometimes because it adds a little extra variety to
Extra
your
adventure.
to your commute.
it spices it up a little, just a little
Yeah.
bit more seasoning. No, to answer your
Is he about to
question,
throw some shit at me? I don't know.
Honestly, most of the time they're not violent, and
They be
anything that
chilling.
the news they're usually chilling, just trying to live. Maybe sometimes they may have like a mental breakdown. Like I had a train where like the man was like so distressed that he like had a breakdown and started like actually like slamming his hand on the chair, but like he was still like to himself. It was just like, you know, going through his thing. And like the stresses that you have from not having like a home, I could only imagine. And I feel like oftentimes they're vilified more so than like actually trying to be understood.
Yeah.
It's just like on your commute sometimes it is a little like as a person from New York, like after a point, like you do feel sorry and you do feel for those things, but at the same time it's just like you're just like, oh man, what?
I think it's an
inconvenience
It's
thing.
like a range. It's like, especially in New York, it's like, especially it's also like, yo, do I have money to give this person today in my
Yeah.
pocket?
Yeah.
And
Because
it's
you're
like,
not too far from them sometimes.
it's like sometimes
A lot
you know,
of times.
A lot of
almost
times.
every time you see that person, you might feel bad, but it's not every time that you're going to be able to help them.
absolutely,
Yeah, and
especially when you're struggling to help yourself.
facts. Like
That be the part where it's like, yo, bro, if things go wrong too much, we might be on the train together.
yes.
I might be yelling at you. You yelling at me.
No, that's such a real sentiment because sometimes I'll sit on the train and I'll be like, wow, I'm not too far from you, and I mean
2 weeks, we gonna be cussing each other out on this
Yeah,
boy.
Yo.
and that's
Get out of my seat, Jerry.
and that's definitely a big thing. And I feel like, you know, as a part of our societal system, it's becomes a thing of dehumanization that like over time, just because of the nature of society and the way that people are stratified and everything, and the way that we come in contact with people that are just not afforded the access to certain things, it just becomes like, oh man, why am I in the same train as this person right now?
Sometimes it's like that, but then there's other days where it's like, Yeah, I feel like the days where you say, okay, I don't have anything to help them, like if you have consecutive days like that, you might start feeling bad that you have not given anything to anybody who's homeless or needs help, and then they might go through that all day where people nobody has anything to help them and no one wants to help them. So I feel like, and anytime I don't give them anything, I feel like the slightest guilt.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, I mean, I don't really have shit myself. Bro.
Yeah, and I feel like that's also a societal thing too, because like the societal thing is just like, you're supposed to just every person is supposed to just give, but
Take care
what
of one
about
another.
these institutions too?
Absolutely.
And these institutions are failing them too.
Facts.
Like the shelter system in New York is abysmal. And it doesn't get spoken about, or if it does get spoken about, there's like no solution or like even attempt to like try to change it, because it's such a big and varied system with a bunch of different cogs in it that makes it complicated. And so like it falls on individuals who could barely support themselves to kind of help other people that
It's
can't
easier
afford.
to hit soft targets or smaller targets. But before that, to answer your question, I think the reason more homeless people choose trains because the bus lines end, and at the end of that bus line, they'll kick
Everybody
you
gonna
off.
get off.
But that train keeps going, and it'll protect you from the elements. Even if you do get kicked off, you can stay underground.
Yeah, you could be in the subway if you get
Yeah.
kicked off the train, just hop on another.
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. You ain't got to worry about going in the snow or anything. But to bounce back to soft targets, it's something I think about often with the idea of trying to tip.
Yeah, tipping culture is another thing, too.
The onus is always on, us, the people, as opposed to being on these companies to pay
And the
people more.
restaurants
And then,
wars too.
like I've been on, I remember going on a date with this woman, and she was like, "Yo, like if you didn't tip, I would walk out right now." Like, and it's crazy. And I was gonna tip. I mean, I did tip. I was saying I was gonna tip like I didn't tip, but I did tip. Like that was all. But that's just such a crazy perspective to have.
Yeah.
To be like, yo, like you need to because people need this.
And that's why Europeans have such a like a disgust for like tipping culture, and then they
Like, I'm not European. I have a disgust with tipping culture.
yeah,
Facts.
because like they'll just be like, why the heck do I have to tip? And I understand the perspective too, but
absolutely.
also I'm just like, this is just the status quo of just like, you gotta try to at least help if you're able to. Like if you're not able to, don't tip.
Yeah.
But like if you have the capacity, or you're planning to go to an area where you're gonna have to tip, come prepared to do that, because at the end of the day, somebody's on the other end having worked food and having wanting to get a tip too. It's just the little things that help. So I feel like that kind of perspective, it's more nuanced of a conversation than people let on, and it's not just like
It's not black and white.
Yeah, most things are a nuanced conversation. Anybody just like, I hold this opinion all the time is never
Yeah, it's
never
crazy.
never the right person to talk to
yo.
about a subject.
Also, do y'all ever feel the pressure to tip because you're black? Because people have that perspective that black people don't tip.
Hell no.
Not book.
I don't
Yeah.
feel that pressure because I live in that truth. I do not want
You
to
said
tip you.
stereotype.
I do not want to
Turn
tip
it up
you.
to 100.
Stereotype
Bro,
confirmed.
real talk, bro. I just paid for my food.
Facts.
You work here. I'm paying for the establishment. I'm paying. The money I'm paying is for the cook. It's for the manager. All y'all niggas supposed to split that. Y'all supposed to figure out how to split that up. This ain't got shit to do with me.
Yeah,
I'm so tired of people putting shit on me. This got nothing to do with me.
I do appreciate those places that like they split it based on, so like let's say there are tips, right? So the tip is split between the back of house and the front of house, as opposed to just giving it all to front of house, and then back of house just doesn't get tips and just gets subs. Yeah, it's complicated though.
Places that have the fucking tip included. Nigga, you didn't even give me a fucking choice.
Yeah, that's crazy. I always
Bro, I'd be looking at the price of the food and I'm like, wait, why is there an extra $7-8?
I rather tip included than
gratuity.
I rather tip included than credit card surcharge, because credit card surcharge, I'm just like, bro, just you're a business, pay the little surcharge that they're gonna do. But like tipping, I understand that when it's included, that means that it gives the workers a higher salary than they would regularly. So I'm a little bit more accepting of that. for the same reasons.
Bro, I understand how y'all have one price here, and then y'all motherfuckers ask you if you get more money.
Nah, but the responsibility of the restaurant, like I worked in a place that was like tipping is included, is to communicate that to the guests. Like tipping is included in the price.
Absolutely.
Because like it's a step in the right direction to overcome some of the things that the system does that incentivizes restaurants to kind of just have tipping culture be all front end. All the waiters are having to, because imagine like you're constantly being evaluated at your job just on like, did you smile correctly to serve a guest their dinner? It's too much on a person. Like just give a good base level of service so that there's no stress about that, and then everybody gets compensated for like the work that they do. That's usually that's how it should be. But also, to say the least, for restaurateurs, it's hard to run a restaurant because it's such small margins of profit. So like food cost is expensive, rent is expensive, dinner plates, forks, kitchen, knives, tables, all that stuff is something that you have to pay beforehand, and it's so much money that like it makes sense why there's such a disadvantage between who gets paid what in the thing. It's just like there's not good subsidies or whatever from the government side or whatever the case is that wants to foster this like big restaurant culture too.
Yo, if the food's good, I'll eat off paper plates. Yo,
Yeah,
like
like-
I don't care. Like I'll sit in one of those little child
I'll be
plastic
honest,
seats.
if,
Like I don't care.
if I went to some nice place and they brought out a paper plate, I'd be confused. I'd be like,
Yeah, but
you
also
niggas broke back there or what? Like,
I mean most restaurants
I would
either
mind, though.
fail or they end up really
Facts.
broke or in high debt, and it sucks because like you have to get so many permits to run a restaurant. It's insane. Like you got to
There's a
do
lot of,
fire safety
hurdles.
permit. You have to do like food safety permit. That's already two, and those take like forever.
Yeah.
Then you have to do like space occupancy like ones, which is a separate process, and everything in regards to that. So you're going into a restaurant business, and you got to do like 10 permits or 15 permits before your place can even open and make money,
Yeah.
or even try to make money.
Let me ask you this though. So if the restaurant told you, hey, this is why we've scaled back on the the ambiance, all these other things that you would normally expect, so we can pay our waiters more, would you still feel a way about it?
No.
Would you feel better?
I wouldn't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
If the food is good, yeah, then
Yeah.
And sometimes like it's not even sometimes I don't feel the split the tip thing, because it may be one person that makes the experience for you. The food may be trash.
Yeah.
Everybody may be rude except for that one person. And in cases like that, I'll ask. I'll be like, yo, is the tip, if I do this by credit card, is it split between y'all? And if that's the case, then I'll give them the
I'll
money,
give you this
know?
up. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, we had pivoting. There was a question asked earlier about about working and why it's been so hard to, because I was doing some writing earlier, why it was so hard to write.
Yeah.
It's like I've been in a really crazy headspace. I've been consistently exhausted, and I've had I've had a lot of different things on my plate, a lot of different situations in and outside of work.
Yeah.
If you listen consistently, I complain about my job, often, but I never say their name. No, we're not going to give them that respect. But shouts out to my job. They did. It's, there is something to be said about working, especially with the way the world is right now. But that kind of leads us to our topic today, which is mental health and its relationship to art.
Yeah.
And real quick, I just want to define mental health so, we're all on the same page. It's when we say mental health, we're referring generally to a person's psychological, emotional, or social well-being. And this kind of thing is crucial because it affects you in all aspects of your life. It affects the way you treat yourself. Mm-hmm. It affects the way you treat other people. It affects the way you deal with stressors that come at you, throughout your life. So it's really crucial into how you move overall. Anybody else have any other definitions they want to add?
I think you hit it on like the nail on the head on that one.
the definition of mental health.
Yeah, like anything that I didn't include that you want to throw in there, and its importance as well.
I think your mental health is almost a tier ahead of your physical health, because if your mental health gets too bad, you're not going to want to take care of your physical health at all, and everything else will deteriorate. And I think I personally always prioritize happiness.
Yeah.
For like just being happy and smiling and laughing. That's definitely my priority in life.
Yeah.
A lot of people will tell me I'm not serious. Fuck. Nigga, these niggas. Niggas is trying to get World War III. Fucking niggas is rap beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, and niggas is calling Drake a white boy. Like, how serious is the world in general?
Crazy.
If you really look at a lot of things, especially within the United States, it's like, how serious are things? So why would I take everything so seriously? Especially if a lot of things are like lies and like a lot of things is not even truthful. You're trying to deceive me, so why would I take everything so serious?
Yeah,
this doesn't even make sense.
No. It's giving Joker. Why so serious?
Why so serious? No, it's interesting that you brought that up, because that was something I was going to bring up too. The fact that J. Cole admitted that he didn't like. And this is going to be, I guess this is more topical than we normally get, but you know, in the midst of this rap beef between Kendrick and Drake and J. Cole and Rick Ross and all these other folks that are apparently involved, you know, he took back his diss, and he even removed it from streaming services, I heard, and he said it wasn't spiritually right with him, and I think that's very interesting. You know, I think he was, you know, that could be an instance. You know, I don't know where he is, or maybe you know he could have been scared.
You know what college J. Cole went to?
What
this one? Can't you tell?
For real?
Can't you tell? He
for
did,
real?
Yeah, he did.
Word.
He did, but dang, man, I gotta rescind what I said last episode.
Damn. Wait. But yeah, anyway, I mean, there's something to be said about art and how it reflects on your mental health. Wait, what'd you say last episode?
Oh man, I said there was like mold on the. I mean, there was. I'm not gonna take that back. You guys should have checked, but there was.
Oh wait, we didn't say the name of it.
No, we didn't say the name, but I mean, if people look up what college what college J. Cole went to.
Damn. Damn, I shouldn't even brought it up.
No.
The other episode.
But I mean, it was a display food. It wasn't gonna be in the thing. It's just an accountable event. They got to be accountable. But a lot of, you know what's funny? I make music. I'm a rapper. So people are gonna hit me. I know that's such a privilege to say. I'm not even gonna lie. People be like, "Oh my god, it's such a stigma." I'm like, "Nah, man, that's a privilege to be like, I have music out. I make rap. Yeah. I'm good at it."
That you are.
Thank you. But I completely understand J. Cole, because it's just like, you know, I feel like I had this point when I was talking to my friends. They're like, "Oh, it's for the spirit of competition," but I mean, there's only so much worth a bar has in comparison to how you feel. And I feel like there were only so many interesting bars that two people that work on the same music, that have the same aims versus each other, have. In the instance between Drake and J. Cole, there's an actual instance of difference in terms of even if you remove the personal, one is resembles marketability and that kind of commercial sense of hip hop and what that evolution of that path is, and one is an evolution of artistic integrity while also achieving commercial success. And so even at the ideology level, in terms of how a person moves, there's an actual difference. So the fact that there's a personal beef, just like, it makes sense, like it can do something. But J. Cole and Kendrick both are trying to achieve artistic integrity,
honestly,
trying
really
to do the same. It doesn't make sense.
It really doesn't.
It doesn't make sense. So like,
if you just listen to what what they're saying, they're really saying a lot of the same stuff, and they want the same things for their community. And it's just hilarious. Like, yo, y'all really not supposed to be beefing. Like, y'all should have been had an album out together. Like,
yeah, and it was just like, it just didn't make sense to me. And there was like I couldn't conceive of any bar that was even interesting. Like when I heard the bar,
I know J. Cole did it because he just loves the sport. And he loves rapping, so he want to rap against everybody, and he want you to go your hardest, so that way he gonna have to go even harder than his hardest. But I think he backed out of it because he knew it was about to get personal. He said, "Yo, these niggas got dirt on each other."
That's you.
He said, "Yo," he know that they probably somebody got some dirt on him, and he said, "You know what? I don't want nothing to do with this. I really just wanted to rap for fun." I just wanted to go at because,
Yeah.
bro, I'm not gonna lie. Everybody has wanted Kendrick and Cole to do either work together or just for something to happen with them because they operate very similarly, in very similar spaces.
Yeah.
And they have similar content. Obviously, sound a little different here and there, but they're really the type of rapper they are is similar. It's like,
and they're so unique, and that's I feel like the reason why those two ended up being paired together so much is because one, Kendrick was like working with J. Cole on like things like High Power and things like that, and so that kind of fostered that kind of connection, and then their careers and also kind of like split, but were relatively like close to each other in terms of how they progressed. Like they both were trying to be authentic, trying to appeal to rappers that were established while also trying to chart for the new class. And it's really amazing that they both made it and kind of progressed through that new class and like actually were the front runners. And I feel like with both of them, they both wanted to like come in and want to change, do something for their community to change, to have that type of change. And I feel like that type of like revolutionary type of like spirit or mindset in a even though it ended up being like somewhat commercialized, because they're musicians at the end of the day. That type of like spirit is what kind of drew them together. So yeah, I completely agree with J. Cole's decision. I know most rappers, they're gonna feel a type of way, and then they're gonna feel a type of way, and they're gonna be like, oh man, like in spirit of competition, it wasn't a skill issue. It wasn't. I think J. Cole could have said an equivalent bar or something, some writing that was so like crazy, that like it would have like blew whoever's career out the water or whatever. But I feel like, you know, if something's not right with your spirit,
Yeah.
and that kind of goes into the mental thing.
Yeah, and that's definitely important when, you know, considering your art. You know, you have to question, is this right with me? Especially if you've been doing it for a while. And it's like, you know, you can tell with J. Cole, he's one of those artists, a lot of what he does is very personal to him. You know,
He finds his identity through his authenticity. And anytime something is inauthentic, it like just messes with his self-concept of himself. So like if something messes with your self-concept, which I think is like another thing that can mess up your mental health. Like if you have a stressor that like makes you question your idea of your sense of self, that can be like such a huge stressor that can like completely dismantle somebody's sense of self. So like for example, like let's say somebody that swims their whole life, right?
Yeah.
Let's say they're just not able to swim anymore. Then like that core aspect of their identity is like missing or gone, or like in a portion that is or in an area where it's a little bit difficult for people to kind of guess, and that can lead to some like mental distress generally.
Absolutely. Pulling back from the K. Cole Drake situation, are there any other examples of artists that you can think of? And it's funny that situation came up because I wasn't even thinking about that. But Kendrick Lamar was one of the people I had on my list as far as like artists who've struggled publicly.
I feel like most artists,
and of course privately with mental health. Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like every artist. I think we're gonna get into this later, but every artist tries to articulate troubling circumstances that they've been through or experienced, and kind of use art as their coping mechanism and a way to create life out of a situation that's kind of tough. Not necessarily every artist, but a lot of artists see it as something, even if they're not even talking about anything in the song itself, the process kind of helps too.
I was about to say that even if they're not directly talking about it, you can probably sense it through their art. But I'm sorry, you about to say something?
If your mental health was perfect, what are you talking about in the song?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, bro, some of your favorite songs, some of my favorite songs, some of the best albums come out of somebody being in a rough mental place where they come to a bunch of realizations of this is messing me up, this is messing me up, this is messing me up, and they figure out, hey, this right here, something over here this is all I really want. And
Nice.
and the way sometimes that they can vocalize it,
articulate
No,
it.
this. Oh man, sometimes the way that they articulate it is perfect
Yes.
for the situation that you're going through. And it's like, yo, bro, if your mental health never got to this point, then my mental health where it is here, it would never go back up because I heard what you said and I said, you know what? Okay, cool. Somebody else went through this. It's not just me. I don't feel alone. I'm gonna make it through this. I'm gonna be okay.
That's very interesting. I want you to hold on to that thought because I got a question about that. But that's towards the end. It's more towards the end of the segment. But so give me some examples of artists, like your favorite
So
artist album or
I would
any piece of
definitely
work
say
where you see somebody struggling.
Heavenly Father by Isaiah Rashad.
I was gonna say Isaiah Rashad.
Well,
Of course you were gonna say Isaiah
That's
Rashad.
crazy.
Well,
man.
I just took your answer. It's funny. It's
Very
funny
good.
because I remember it was the end of my first year of college, and I was very depressed because I went upstate to Albany, and it's so cloudy and dark up there that it's like you never get any sunlight. I remember I was going to my sister's graduation, and I was with my brother and my uncle. And then I think because they know me pretty well, and they know that I'm usually a very cheerful person. But they probably sensed that I was kind of like sad. But I had also just told them that I had started rapping, and I played them a song, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you should never quit." But I ended up quitting.
Oh damn!
But I'm a return.
He's on hiatus.
Yeah,
He's on
yeah.
hiatus. How long ago did you quit?
Maybe at the end.
Quotation
Maybe at
marks.
the end, or maybe in the beginning of 2023.
Oh yeah, you on hiatus.
My son is on hiatus.
But
He's just trying to get his economic standings better, and I appreciate you.
It'd be
brother.
like that sometimes. Sometimes you got to get your money right, but
In the car, they played Heavenly Father, and I was just like, I listened to that song, and I'd never heard Isaiah Rashad before that.
Wow.
And I was like, yo, I like this song, and like now I'm in a very good mental health space. I don't even want to listen to that song. Like I'm not gonna like that song. That song is like, yo,
Yeah,
it's
if you know what's funny? I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was saying like you can piece together someone's emotional state by the music that they choose to listen to. Not necessarily like, let's say they do like a genre, even within the nuances of the genre. Like let's say somebody listens to rock. There's certain things that they listen to when they're in a happier mood versus in like in a darker kind of like heavier mood. And so even in that sense, like let's say somebody listens to classic rock and then listens to heavy metal when they're a little like stressed, right? That little difference and nuance can kind of give you like an ear sonically. And also music kind of, the lyrics that you kind of gravitate to speak to like your state. And that's why, especially if you are an artist making music, especially from my experience, and I was watching the Joe Budden podcast and he talks about that. And I take it very personal in my writing. Whatever you write, treat it as if it will happen or has happened. And so be very cautious with your pen. Be very cautious with the energy that you broadcast out, because the energy that you broadcast out is something that's going to be received in.
Very related to that. I got this book. Called Hung by the Tongue, and I didn't read the entire thing, but this guy who was very into like God and religion at the time, and he just gave me the book because he thought I was cool, and we would just have good conversations about God and stuff and just religion. He gave me the book, and the book basically just says everything you say is like a manifestation, and basically whatever you say is supposed to come true. So especially when you're writing like lyrics for a song, you're basically writing like affirmations and kind of what you want. So if you're saying negative things all the time, then you're almost inviting that in.
they're gonna reverberate and live in the world.
Yeah.
In some shape, form, or fashion. Can I make it an observation?
Yeah.
Yo. So just as a quick description, we're in a studio right now, a bunch of equipment, and there's a window space, and we can see right into the next studio. And the lights are on in there, and they seem like they're having a grand old time.
Yeah, they're
and
having
then
a
we're
blast.
in here, and it's
Talking
like
about
like a little dark. It's like the vibe is all the way down. That's funny to me, but it's not. But we are having a good time. I love this.
Yeah.
But
It is very funny though.
But no, when I was thinking of this,
depression.
oh man, no, I was thinking that my immediate response when I was thinking about this topic is, are y'all familiar with Francis Bacon, the
No.
artist? He's an Irish-born British painter. But if you look up some of his stuff, I'm not connected to Wi-Fi, so I can't. But make sure you put artists, because there's another Francis Bacon out there. But if you look at a lot of his paintings, there's these. He does a lot of portraiture, and so some of it's self-portraits, some of it's portraits of other people. They're very, very disfigured and contorted.
Oh wow!
And a lot of that is a reflection of his self-image. And I believe there might be a specific disorder related to that, but that's the first thing I thought of.
I'm one of those people that, like, when you look at art, you kind of feel the resonance of it. And I did get a little bit of the chills because I can see what type of mental state
intense it is, right?
Yeah, it's a bit intense. I'm very sensitive to art in that kind of way. I feel like art is like the one thing I'm like. You ever be around somebody that never cries, but they cry only in a movie theater?
Yeah.
Or they cry when they're watching a movie, or like they're listening to music. Like it's like one of those things where like you kind of express with another medium. So like looking at certain things, I'm like, ooh, I can see like the mental state or the thing that they're kind of trying to portray.
Say, when it comes to making art and you're in certain mental states, I find that I might make some very vulnerable and very truthful stuff when my mental health is a bit lower, or it's not as where I wanted it to be, or it's not great, where I don't feel as great as I think I could.
Yeah.
And I think some of the music I might make when my mental health is really good maybe doesn't have nearly as much meaning, and it's more of me just having fun, which is a part of my personality, and I think it's a huge part of me that people enjoy. But I think the other side, it's crazy because I had a friend. He was like suicidal. Like he would just be he would post himself crying on his Instagram story. And I remember one of my friends was like, "Oh, why is he doing that?" I'm like, "Bro, he's depressed, bro. Blah 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 blah." And then I had this one song out that I had made when I was sort of a little depressed. I wouldn't say I was super depressed, but I was just definitely not in the right mental health or the right mental space. But I made that song and I really liked that song, and then I posted on Apple Music. And actually, I made 2 songs that he really loved, and he said like he really loved those songs. And I'm not gonna lie, he looks a lot happier now. And like he used to play that song so much. And I think that honestly that low key gave me so much as an artist for the fact that I could really take you out of a certain terrible mood. That meant so much to me, and I felt like I had like beat the game as an artist, like just by doing that for somebody that I know. I felt like
you figured out the code.
Yeah, because like what else do I have? Like I move somebody emotionally and mentally on the spectrum from like, okay, I don't feel good to no, I'm gonna feel good, and that's what I was saying. Like most of the time when I'm mentally healthy, all my music is supposed to be feel good music. Yeah. So even when my mental health isn't where it's at, I'm still making feel good music, but it might be a different type of feel good.
Yeah.
Which is really cool to me, honestly.
And you know what's funny? You bring that up, and I had a conversation with somebody like literally before. Shout out my friend Samit. He was talking about like how he doesn't really feel like it's important to make sad music because he's like, oh man, you're just gonna communicate bad and sad vibes. And I'm like,
I need to cry.
And I'm like, sometimes they're like, oh, you're just gonna like if you're feeling bad, you shouldn't play something that's gonna make you feel worse. And I'm like, sometimes
to just feel that emotion out in its entirety. Feel it all right. Yeah, I had a conversation with this one DJ guy. I was in Cancun, and we were talking about friends that had ended up killing themselves. And he had told me how when he was younger, he tried to kill himself, and his dad came in the room, and it was a big deal, and he had like a rash on his neck from where he had tried to hang himself. And then we were talking about how one of his friends had killed himself, and then so he'd be like, oh, sometimes I want to cry. And I just looked at him, I said, yo, so just cry. Just feel those feelings in the moment. Yeah. Obviously, you feeling bad, feel bad right then and right there. And a couple hours later, you should be good. Because I'm not going to lie, crying sometimes, bro, sometimes you just need to sit down.
Yeah, we all need a good cry.
Get like 7 tears out, get the sniffles out, and you're going to feel better because you needed to release that because you're holding it in. Yeah. You're holding that in like a shit. Yeah. Let that shit out. Do not hold the shit in for an 8-hour car drive. Let that shit out.
Which is interesting, which leads to the next segment. Car which is a question. And yeah, shower cries. No.
Shower cries.
How can we use?
I haven't shower cried in a minute, but no, it's just be.
It's just be hit, right? No, how can we use art as a vehicle to navigate mental health, and like what ways can we use art? to explore that.
I'm gonna tell you how. Okay, so first we're getting in the musical vehicle, and we're gonna play a sad song. We're gonna embrace all the sadness right there. Then after that, we're playing uplifting music only. Right? Okay, I might go back to another sad song after that, but we're going back to uplifting music, and we're gonna feel what that artist felt when they were making that feel good music, and I'm gonna try to feel good. I think like going outside, being in the sun is also like a great mood booster. Like,
Absolutely.
Me personally, I'll be on my balcony. I'll go on my balcony. There's little trees outside, there's grass outside. I live in an apartment, so I'm always stuck in my room. So going out on my balcony, smoking some weed and listening to some reggae music and closing my eyes, almost pretending like I'm in Jamaica or Trinidad, that does a lot for me. Yeah. I'd be like, yo, bro, like pretending like you're a Rastafari when you're not, and you're burning your weed on your balcony,
that, not me, is so funny because you're
yelling reggae music out to the world. I don't know, bro. I'd be feeling pretty good after that.
I'm a slight bit different. I used to use music a lot to regulate my emotions. So what I'll do is I'll start from where I am emotionally. Like if I'm feeling bad, I'll start from a slower song. And what I'll do is I'll transition through songs so that I feel at least a neutral feeling. So then when something is like a neutral thing, but I can find joy in that, I can reach that feel-good music level. And I feel like that was a more gradual way instead of like trying to be like, I'm going to feel this, I'm going to try to force happiness. Because you touched upon it earlier, but yeah, I feel a little bit different in terms of happiness. I feel like happiness is not something that you should kind of try to achieve at all times. I feel like it should be kind of like a sugary snack. It should feel like something you should touch when it needs to be like felt. But I feel like a sense of peace is more of like or contentment is a better feeling to try to reach generally in life, because contentment is more satisfying. Because if you're just like constantly happy all the time, you're gonna get bored. Like that feel good music for me, after a point, it sounds kind of cheesy, kind of corny. Kind of like
hate everything.
I got a pocket full of sunshine.
Yeah, like I know, but like, you ever listen to like your favorite like feel good song too many times in a row?
And then I played another too many times in a row.
Yeah,
Facts.
like yeah, I played it too many times in a row, but then I'm just like I think I just need a lot more stimulation than that. So I tend to like find contentment and find like the small joys and like what we were talking about last episode, like those spaces, that little kind of like brevity where you're just like, wow, that's like really beautiful.
Yeah, you could take a breath real quick before you walk past another building.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I don't think that, happiness wasn't meant to be there all the time. You can't be happy all the time, just like you can't be sad all the time. I don't think it's something that's worth. I mean, you should strive to be happy and do what makes you happy, but I don't think it's something that's achievable 24/7. But it's interesting though. Some of my favorite songs are the ones that are in between, like "Have You Back." Yeah. Shouts out to Sage and Jules.
Sage.
Jules isn't here with us today, but yeah,
that song is so.
Like it's got a happy tone, but there's like a darker.
It's a real. I feel like, especially with that song, I love that you brought a song that like I wrote so I can tell you like the exact headspace, and I feel like that's the one thing I wish was more accessible, to be able to speak to the artist without the facade of marketing. Like this song impacted me, like your friend was. That song impacted me. Like I want to understand like what you were trying to capture. Like I feel like that's a good thing. But like for that song, "Have You Back." The origins of the song was like, it was a freestyle, so it's like a lot more free flowing. Even for me, I didn't write the first thing. Like I milled at it for a long time beforehand, and then it was Jules that was kind of like aware of the situation that I was going through at the time, and was just like, you've been talking about this thing for like a while. Maybe it's time to move back. And it was like the first time like I thought about actually trying to move on instead of trying to like hold on to something, and that kind of progression is like what you kind of find in the song, because they're just trying to progress and that's the song of like the most transformation on the project, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I feel like trying to reach that point of transition is such a hard thing, because you don't know like what a transition entails in life. Like if you're in a metamorphosis, it's not like the caterpillar knows what the butterfly is. It may know what a reference of it is, but it doesn't know what it is for itself.
Yo, imagine if fucking caterpillars had fucking mirrors.
Yeah, like
I know they'd be like, yo,
like that.
Look at this. Look what I became.
I'm gonna title this the episode "Caterpillars with Mirrors."
Hey,
I think
love it.
I think that's a great like visual thing to think about.
Because I know he would get in that cocoon like, I'm a big motherfucker, man.
Yeah, like imagine like the negativity that a caterpillar would
All I
have.
do is eat leaves.
Yeah, like honestly, that's a crazy thing. Like imagine the self-awareness and like the overall like disgust that could be possible if a caterpillar was had the capacity of self-reflection in the same way that we would, and having to know that like this and like having to intellectualize what a cocoon stage is. And I feel like that's kind of like the human plight. Like we're constantly changing, and we don't know the next step or even a final step or even guaranteed a final step.
There isn't always a formula to see the change.
Yeah, like at least with a life cycle of a caterpillar, like there's stages that they know.
Yeah.
That we know because we study,
yeah.
but like from the caterpillar's perspective, it's a whole brand new experience.
No,
You know what's
actually, I'm not gonna
crazy?
lie, because like they're walking around on leaves one day. They curl up in a ball,
Yeah, you just feel the urge to
and
do
like
it.
I don't know like how conscious they are in that like 3-6 month stage.
Yeah.
And then they just come out with wings. That's a crazy transformation.
That
Yeah.
is. It's a natural thing.
That's crazy.
And I was gonna say that's kind of what art is. It's like holding a mirror. Like once you get past that, it's holding a mirror up to yourself and to your transformation, and it's giving you ability to look back and say, "Yo, like,
And
look what I
that's-
became
and
from where I was."
Yes, and
I like that. I like what you said just now.
but I think a good thing to talk about in terms of like mental health and art is when you're in between stages past the metamorphosis too. So like let's say you finish an art piece, what happens to the artist when they're like in between that stage of creating a new metamorphosis? Like it's not like the butterfly evolves again. The butterfly just has to embark on a new migration, has to expand, and has to like go farther.
Yeah.
But it's like, what does that entail? And that's the second kind of portion that is often not talked about in the mental health sphere of an artist when they're making stuff. Because like, let's say for instance, you made the song for your friend, you're like, I want as an artist. But then it's just like, what from here? Is it expansion? Is it the thing? And then that kind
like,
of...
it's like, yo, do I make this same song
Yeah,
again?
yeah.
Because, or do I make a song that sounds similar with a similar type of beat with a similar BPM? Or do I make something that's absolutely nothing like this? Because it's like, yeah, this type of song appealed to you. But it's crazy because he had 2 songs he liked, and they were so different. They were so different. Like one of them was super upbeat. I was talking all type of shit.
We
All right, we're in the middle
we
of the
podcast.
episode.
My fault.
Yo,
good,
what's
good.
up, Josh?
Shout out Josh.
Shouts out to Josh.
Shout out Josh.
Shout out to
man.
Josh. He's
the door
from
really
really from
loud.
my neighborhood. That's my boy.
He got so
Oh,
excited.
good. Yeah.
That's my boy.
Yeah.
He's a cool producer. He makes music as well.
Oh.
Shout out to Josh.
No, but that's interesting because one of the answers I had, that's interesting you're talking about that step. One of the answers I had, and in reference to the specific question, was art kind of gives you an avenue to reinvent and redefine yourself and choose how you move forward.
And not only that,
from those
you can actually, bro, the way you can view yourself differently. Like
Yeah. Your
Like-
self-conceptualization
like
is insane.
it's almost like it's so crazy becoming an artist. It's like you're almost a god of your own universe, and like you can look at yourself and be like, I want this to change, and you change this about yourself. It's crazy because I'm not gonna lie, I think rapping gave me so much confidence, and like I stopped
It definitely
rapping.
does.
I stopped rapping, and I still feel confident because I know I have this ability to just start hitting you with mad rhymes. And I could just I have a lot of things that I can do, and it's like honestly, bro, I love hip hop and I love making music. I miss it, bro. I definitely miss it. This hiatus is
So
fucking
now
me up.
he's
Yeah.
But
moving back to-
financially,
Fi-
I'm not
but-
ready. I'm not ready.
No.
Where
I understand. I
Where my
understand.
bag looking right now, Trent?
If you're a baddie, listen to this. Please ignore that last
Yeah,
part.
you didn't hear none of that.
Nah. Trey, you hilarious.
Mute all that. Bleep all that.
My bad. Yeah, we gonna take it out in post. No, I got you, bro. I got you.
Nah, that's so funny, but it's so true.
Yeah.
And I feel like accessibility is like an artist's like main type of thing, and then even after that point, I feel like mental health is important because it deals with your sense of identity, and I feel like throughout our lives, identity is like the biggest factor and determinant of how you move, how you create, and how you go about like your self-concept in relation to others and the world is like what makes you a conscious being as like we understand it. And it's just like really tough to kind of have to redefine that image as time goes. And it's like, you know, when you looked at yourself in the mirror as a kid, like that was the image of you. And now you look at yourself in the mirror now, that's the image of you now. And then 20 years down the line, that's the image of you then. And it's just like you got to do that every day.
But honestly, I like being able to redefine yourself as an artist. Like,
Yeah, I think it's important.
you know, you don't even have to change everything about yourself. You could just add something slightly.
Yeah,
like a
I don't think you
slight
have to change your
new
core.
change, or you can take this away. Honestly, I really like being an artist because it's like, yo, some days you could do this, you could be weird like this, and the next day you could be weird like this, but you were making art, and that might have appealed to two different sets of people.
Absolutely.
And they might love it. And they might be like, yo, I resonate with this so much. But you thought you were being weird. No, you were really just channeling a different part of yourself.
Yeah, but now here's my question for you guys: how would you see these kind of like mental health things as a person that doesn't make art but just appreciates art?
Okay.
I feel like that's an interesting perspective because we're artists ourselves, so we know that we have the ability to self-conceptualize and reinvent. But let's say someone doesn't really want to like delve in a medium to do like that re-evaluating of like their identity, but they just want to like observe art and like take different pieces of, because we've all been there. We've all find like our favorite sounds and favorite things generally. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's already been sort of spoken about previously. I think both of you guys touched on it, but I think there is a social aspect to art.
Yeah.
So if you don't make it, there's still a participation factor in it. Like someone, like you said, your friend may not make art, but he listened to your song, and that
felt it.
helped him. Yeah, he felt it.
And he felt
Or you
it.
can go to an art museum.
You know what I actually love about artists is that they might have made the art, but somebody else is gonna feel it way more than they ever felt it.
Yeah.
Even if you made it and it's actually a part of your soul. It's a part of your spirit. It's a representation of you and your spirit in that moment in time. Somebody else might feel it more than you, and you the
Which is
motherfucker who made it.
insane. Which is insane. to
Like
me.
I like this more than you ever will like it. You sitting there looking at I don't know if I want to drop this. Somebody else is over here cherishing this. This saved my life. This changed me for the better. You over here thinking I shouldn't drop this. I don't really like this that much.
Yeah.
This is the greatest shit ever to somebody else though.
I be telling Jules that sometimes for his song "Gone," R.I.P. That song hits very different, and I'm like, you have to cherish the stuff that you don't feel attached to, and I have to. Having released Phantoms myself, I feel that sometimes like you don't feel attached to that because the butterfly doesn't look back at the caterpillar being like that was it. Maybe like that was a good time, but doesn't look at it like I want to go back to being the caterpillar. It has its wings already, but you have to, still build that community for it, and it's a very tough process to do that too, especially in the environment that we're in, where you have to sell and you have to market and you have to become a brand and you have to like.
I think that takes away from a lot.
And it takes away from the art too, and it makes it more of a cynical thing.
Because I have to profit off of this. I need to.
Or not even have to profit, just have to expand and have to share. But the process of even sharing and expanding requires that you need some type of funds or some type of thing to like expand the reach, or even you need some type of other medium to expand your reach, some type of megaphone that expands your voice,
But no.
whether it be a platform or something.
Excuse me. Back to what I was saying though, like you can go to an art museum, and then when you feel those things, it may have you may meet somebody at that museum who's feeling, you may get into a conversation. And like I said, both of those people may not make art, but now you have a space where you feel safe exploring and identifying and talking about those feelings. So it may give you a way to process,
Yeah.
a new way to process, even if you don't make art, you know?
Yeah, I think also people like taking pieces of art and making it a part of their self identity, and just kind of being able, because they felt that first instance of something. Like, I'm sure if your friend was just like, oh yeah, this like touched my soul, if you were to make something else that was just like, hey, this supports myself and it's another extension of some part or facet of my mind, they would probably just enjoy that just as much as they would the music. Which is cool, because that means you can expand and embrace different mediums as an artist, like generally. But, yeah, I feel like in regards to like mental health and like the artist and everything, kind of expansion and what that point of that kind of like recycle and rebirth is like, it's a weird process for everything, and I feel like. Even then, you have to make art along the way of that process too. It's not like the caterpillar doesn't make like art. And like you brought up Kendrick before, so like his art deals with like a lot of mental states and relations to his environment and his community, and is like how that became like a
I
facet
love how
of
Kendrick
himself.
touches on so many different mental states, and I love how he uses his tone to communicate all these different places his mind has been. But go ahead and continue. Yeah,
I that was something I always gravitated to too, and because initially, especially as an artist, you have to understand that like not everyone's gonna understand you, and I feel like that's also a big factor in mental health too, that you often, in most cases, are not understood as an artist, because you see everyone conceptualizing themselves by taking pieces from other things and making it a part of their identity. And after a certain point, that just didn't appeal. It was more so I want to make something new. And that in itself is a very different mindset. So it just automatically separates you from a group. And then it changes and it isolates you a bit. And I feel like mental health for artists is just like, well, if I want to self-conceptualize and self-reinvent, and it's so different from everyone just kind of just taking pieces and just being like, this is a part of me now. It's weird, because then you're just like, all right, what am I supposed to use as a guiding force to keep on going if I'm trying to self-create all the time? And like I was saying with Kendrick, like he's done several different points and talked about different mental states, and all the time it's not like there's millions of songs that he didn't release. I imagine that he just kind of like created along in the process, and then we're only seeing like little snippets, which like gives us the impression like it was all together. But obviously you can tell from what he wrote that like he had to have dived in even deeper mental spaces, but was able to kind of reach a point of reflection.
Did you ever listen to the Untitled? The Untitled.
That's one of my favorite ones. Untitled 5? What?
No,
Untitled 2?
Untitled,
yeah, just the whole
Unmastered.
album.
The whole album is beautiful. It's one of my favorite projects.
He made that before he made To Pimp a Butterfly, right?
He made it in the sessions.
Yeah, it was
because I was listening to that. I'm listening to those, and I'm like, yo, this sounds like rough drafts for because there was one. I think it was. You said 05?
Which one?
I like 06. I think I like Untitled 06.
Just say a lyric. I know it.
He's like, the Indian man said.
That's not 7. That's
6. 06.
That's 3.
It's 3. I'm bugging.
I know that album like the back of my hand. I know which one.
That one. I was listening to another song on the album. I'm like, yo, these are basically.
What did the black man say?
Yeah, these are basically this song and this song are like almost like this was the rough draft, and he said, I like how this sounds, but I'm gonna do it again. But I'm using the same idea, same concept.
He does that a lot in his discography. Like, I think it was PMP 1.5 is the prototype to swimming pools. Pussy and Patron make me feel alright. Swimming pool.
It's crazy. I can't get away
Drake.
with that. I can't get away with making one song and then saying, all right, we're gonna do this again.
But
Yeah, but-
question. What? Why don't you think you can get away with that? Like, what makes you feel like you can't get away with that?
Because I think when I do, like when I'm writing, I'm gonna use this as an example. For college assignments, like they'll be like, oh, I want 6,000 words, but I'm gonna say what I had to say in about 2,000. And I'm very concise.
Yeah.
I can do it right here, right now. I don't need 4,000 words of fluff. So once I say it, there's no reason for me to be repeating myself over and over again because the way I said it right here was very concise and well put. So I feel like, but it's messed up because I had songs where I was talking about the ocean. I have 2 songs where I'm really talking about the ocean, but the first song I'm talking about Atlantis, and I'm comparing Atlantis to like Africa, and
That's a beautiful sentiment.
talking about like how it got washed away and how I was talking about the ocean, and the other song I'm talking about love, and I'm talking about the ocean, and I'm just referring to a lot of creatures in the ocean, and it's just more of like a visual thing where I'm really talking about love and how the shorty got away. And I'm talking like about space and stuff too. It's all over the place. But yeah, never mind. I take it back. He got me.
Good.
I think it's just a factor of his environment.
Check and mate. No, but no.
No, you got it.
Bringing it back on topic, I had a specific example because I was thinking about, how I would discover things about myself when I made art. Because we can use it as a form of expression to also discover and identify feelings that we didn't know we were there. So I thought about this really particular, and I'm going to age myself with this really particular example where we had this desktop in my house, right? It was the only access point for the internet. All right. So back then, phones couldn't access the internet. Yes. Dial-up.
Made the fucking sound.
You just gave me flashbacks with that.
That's so accurate.
For a second, I thought I was back in my mom's living room. No. But and I would use this digital paint program that was on there. And I would just do these really vibrant splashes of shapes and colors. And this was before I would draw. And this is before I did photography, before I did anything with art. I was just messing around on the computer. And then I'm thinking specifically of this one piece of artwork. And I would do I would create these really crazy shapes and use all these covers, and then in the center of that there was a little black space, and in the center of that black space was like this blue dot. And then I once I was done, I stopped and I looked at it and I was like, oh shit. And then the title of it was Alone Again. And I didn't realize I was going through that as like a child. I was like, holy shit, I'm experiencing something. I'm feeling like I'm, and I think that led, yes, absolutely. And I think that led to a bigger thing. Like I've kind of thinking about it now, I've always sort of felt like the black sheep of my family. Like I was always on the outside.
I felt that too.
And even in other situations that weren't my household. And this is not saying my family didn't love me. No, they loved the shit out of me, and I loved the shit out of them. But it's just always been different, and in some ways treated differently. And
wait, are you the youngest?
Yes,
that's why. Yo, bro, they treat the youngest like a fucking 4 for their whole life. Like, bro, I have mental capabilities. Okay, I might have made one mistake when I was 12, getting off the bus at the wrong place, but y'all don't have to hold me accountable for that one mistake until I'm 23. Like, golly,
you put your pants on backwards once.
Yeah, I'm the youngest, bro. I'm the youngest, bro. I didn't know.
Give me some.
Yeah, I didn't know my address till I was like 10. They fried me for that, bro. Like, yo, bro, they know, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. The youngest is always gonna get treated like a stupid retard baby.
Oh my God.
Whole life. They be like, you want some mashed peas, you stupid final born child? like, damn, boy. Y'all can't trust me as an adult? Y'all don't trust me as an adult? Like, y'all don't trust me to make my own decisions as an individual? The heck?
Oh man!
Did they staple like a note to you? With the address on your shirt?
Return Andre to this address.
Put it in the backpack.
Trent, I swear, I think my dad would make jokes like that, where he said, "Yo, he didn't know his address. We gotta put a tag on him like he at the airport, like a suitcase. We got a suitcase tag and put it around his neck." I swear, my dad was making jokes like that. Bro.
I started sweating too, right?
Yo, bro.
That's so funny.
Me and Trent are living the same life.
That's so funny. You know what's funny? I'm the opposite. I'm the oldest.
Yeah, this nigga got bare responsibility.
Yeah, that's
Yo, the youngest sibling. Him having all the responsibility takes away the responsibility from the younger one. So years later, nobody thinks the younger one can have any responsibility because he had all the responsibility the whole time.
We gotta figure that shit out.
That's facts.
We gotta figure this shit out.
Yo,
we
bro,
have
we
to-
just
And
decoded
we still trying to figure this shit out.
I'm so sorry for the listeners because I definitely scream facts, and there's no way to fix that.
We could put a note in there say turn your volume down for 5 seconds at this point.
Yeah, but no, it's so
If
true.
his little brother spilled juice, they gonna be like, Christian,
Clean
why
it up.
weren't you paying attention to
exactly.
him?
Why are you even watching him? But he's an individual. He might be 4 and dumb, but you can't treat him like that for the rest of his life.
Yeah,
Oh man,
that was good. That was I was laughing dope hard.
I think Trent just felt that on a soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt
said,
it too.
"Oh."
I felt seen.
He said somebody else.
And I think that's a good segue to what you were kind of touching on before, but I wanted to bring back. I feel like recognition is a good help in terms of identifying mental, or making sure that someone's mental health is good when feeling seen and recognized.
Yeah, I try to talk to in all my
Absolutely.
classes, I try to talk to everybody. There's always going to be that one kid who's less socially acclimated than everybody. He might be a little chunky. He might be kind of pale.
that was me at one point.
Shout out to all the chunky
chunky and
people.
pale.
I mean, I wasn't chunky and pale. I was
There's always
actually
that one person that like
what
everybody's
you mean.
talking, and then there's that one person that always gets left out. I try to go talk to that person.
Yeah.
and I just try to make them feel included, because you just want everybody. You want
Yeah,
everybody.
You never know what somebody's going through, and shit like
Facts.
that'll definitely make someone's day.
Yeah,
You know,
honestly,
feeling seen.
I like to. Sometimes I like to crack a couple jokes, and then I'll ask them a question, and then depending on that question, I might give them like a stern judgment, like a little side eye, like I know you weren't included in the group, but I know now why you wasn't included. In the group.
So you're
Yeah,
making
try
them
to
feel
side- you try to
seen
side it,
and
but-
judged.
Exactly, and then they'll start laughing with me. They'll start laughing with me most of the time. So now we're chilling, and then I try to include them in group discussions.
Yeah, I feel like that's important too, because
No, absolutely.
yeah, there's gonna be instances where you're that kid. Too.
Absolutely. I was that kid a lot. Like I said, I moved at the.
I was
I'm too damn
that
wild
kid
for
on
that.
occasion.
Was that the beginning of this episode or the beginning of the other one we recorded? When I said I moved around a lot.
I think that was the last episode.
Okay, yeah, but anyway, I moved around a lot, so that was me a lot, like trying to. Like, I got to the point where I just kind of not necessarily gave up, but I just stopped trying to make friends. But it was kind of a weird thing though, because people gravitated towards me, and people always felt comfortable around me.
You have good energy, good vibes. You're a good person.
Thank you.
Like I said, they're not fucking with me, and then they start fucking with him. He's like, "Man, if
Nobody-
y'all don't let me just be in my own
Nobody
bag,
was
if y'all
fucking
just let
with
me fucking be."
until nobody was fucking. With me.
Nah, you ever
Started fucking. With
You ever been like Nah, you ever been like sad and be like, I don't want to do it with nobody, and then your best friend calls you and you're
Yeah, it'd be like that. It'd be like that.
You'd be like, let me be sad for a second, like
You know what's crazy? When I was feeling some kind of way last night, you text me.
that'd be like the
Yeah.
it'd be the best.
And then
It'd be like the best and worst feeling because you know,
Yeah.
like people got you, or like there's something in the universe that won't let you hit a certain threshold of sadness.
absolutely.
But then you're just like, damn, man, like it would have made so much more sense if it didn't happen. Now I have to like like question everything and like reacclimate myself.
And you'd be like, yo, this shit wasn't that serious. But yeah, you text me this morning. My brother texted me, checked up on me. Shout out to my big brother.
Yeah. So that's checking on your friends too.
My boss and my friend checked up on me, and it was like we all in my homie Batman, who I shouted out an episode.
Shout out Batman.
2 episodes ago. What's up, Batman? How you doing? Yeah, like it all that kind of led to me feeling better and pushing me to sort of finish writing the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, or at least get to the finished point. But I'm gonna ask another question.
Oh, okay. I'm loving this
How
episode.
do you guys feel like if there's any way that art can be harmful to mental health?
Ooh, the pressure of having to keep on doing when you're not in the mood to do it. And I feel like that's the worst feeling.
Absolutely.
And it becomes a mental thing too when art becomes your job.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have the therapeutic sense that it used to. And even though you do make it, it becomes like, it doesn't like.
It becomes a task.
It becomes a task.
More than a release and something that you're just doing for fun.
Yeah.
Yo.
And
That's
that's
funny. That's part of one of the notes I wrote. But keep going.
Yeah, that's a big thing because like I'll speak from personal experience. Like all my hobbies turn into things that eventually I want to turn into something bigger. And it left me with no hobbies. It left me with, and I'm just like,
This dude go home and stare at the wall and said, "Fuck, man, I gotta go get to this bag."
yeah, and I'm like,
Fuck.
and so like,
Fuck.
and so like, you're just looking at it, and then like I was talking to you on the phone, and I sounded so pessimistic. Like I was like, I appreciate you for being on the phone with me, but I was like reflecting on the conversation. I was like, damn, I haven't been like this pessimistic about every avenue that I wanted to
It's
do.
my fault. I turned the hater on in him.
Nah,
I be hating so much, bro. Other people be like, you know what? Fuck that shit. Man. Like, fuck that shit. You're right, Andre.
no, but I think that cynicism is a part of why I was able to kind of like say like, hey, I need help. I need to like kind of reevaluate like what is going on or what is the core thing, and maybe break from that new mindset. So I was just like, okay, like maybe like reaching out and trying to find like a therapist or something. Trying to reach out and trying to find different avenues that are not art to feel better. Different avenues that's not music, that's not photography, that's not going to work. That's just, and that's why I was saying contentment. And I feel like that contentment is not something that's given or achieved by doing anything. It's just, you just reach a mode of being. But the problem is, you could reach moments of just being, but like you're still a self-aware, conscious being moving through spaces.
And you have bills to pay.
And you have bills to pay.
And
so,
they're taxing your ass.
yo, doing my taxes was stressing me.
And then you thought you bought something, and then they turned the screen around and said, and then there was options for tipping. Golly. And the thing is, and now you're looking at me, and you know where my finger's going lower to the no tip area. You looking at me, and now I feel bad. Now I feel some type of way. But how bad do I really feel? Because I'm actually saving this money, so I could. Yes.
You gotta know when to be selfish and when to be
You're
selfless.
not gonna make me feel bad about not having no damn money. I don't got no money. You don't got no money. We in the same boat, bro. We in the same boat. Because if I was behind, my thing is, if we and you had the same paycheck, and I came in. And you came in, and I'm behind the screen, and I turn this shit around and look at you like this. When you not by the tip, you might feel some type of way. But I'm also gonna be like, you know what, the nigga broke, I'm broke. You know, we in the same boat. I'm like,
I think
why can't we all understand that?
I think
broke?
that's another conversation
If you're
for
a lady,
another day.
Yeah.
shut up. If you're a lady, you didn't hear nothing. Just
If you're a baddie, you heard nothing.
I
heard
think that boils down to if you ever seen the movie Parasite, class solidarity.
Yes.
Recognizing class is also a thing, because sometimes we level expectations for others that they're supposed to take care of us, but oftentimes we can't take care of ourselves. And we touched upon that when we talked about the homelessness situation. So I'm thinking the conversation's coming circle now. So,
Absolutely.
so if you're looking at someone that is obviously like dealing with stuff, is going to be homeless on the train, or is homeless on the train, you reach a point where you're just like, I'm not so far different than you in my scenario. And
Because me and you, Jerry, might be cussing each other out on the F train.
That's
next
right,
week
Jerry.
if shit don't go right.
And it's funny to said that because one of the immediate, I didn't say it earlier, one of the immediate quotes, I think it was Nietzsche who said that, what did he say? He was talking about pity, and he was saying to pity someone is to, in a way, and I'm paraphrasing horribly, but he's saying to pity someone is to look down upon them, to look at them as if they're lesser than, as if you're better or you're more fortunate than them.
Yeah.
And I think that's something. There's something to that. You know, looking the way you look at people when they ask for something. You know, it's that was the immediate quote that jumped in my head. But
Yeah.
I was gonna say, are you gonna, like, when they look at you asking for a tip, Andre, are you gonna give them a look back like, yo, you asking for more of my money? Are you gonna develop a sort of a stare?
Because bro, you might be working at
contest?
this establishment. You might be making hourly more than I make.
with
Like-
tips.
Yo, bro.
Yo, especially if you're a bartender.
Yeah.
Damn, we're getting sidetracked. But anyway, yeah, if you're a cute bartender, you definitely making tips. But
exactly, bro.
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
then,
oh, you look
but
good.
then you know, inequality in the form of
Sexism.
sexism and pretty privilege,
You're right.
and beauty standards. So, I mean, it's always a disadvantage somewhere because we live in a society. So,
Pretty privileged.
I be pitying rich white people sometimes. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted.
Facts.
that is an
Nigga,
interesting
you don't have
concept.
it all.
All your money
You're
and all your
I'm
problems.
gonna be honest. Like, there's so many, there's so many mental things that they lack because they never had.
Absolutely.
They just never had to do it. They never had
Certain
to go
struggles
through
you never
anything.
experience.
Yeah, like
I think
there's-
that's an interesting dynamic to talk about because
like there's a lot. Because bro, you'll see so many rich white kids, and they're at a hip hop concert, and it's like, bro, you didn't go through what he's talking about. I know you
you
don't
can't
relate to
feel
that,
like
but you like the music.
And that's
And
not
there's
to
a-
diminish anyone's struggle, though, because everyone goes through shit.
yeah.
But it's like,
That-
it's my thing is like, there's a lot of things that you, as somebody who might not have been brought up rich, as a black person, there's a lot of great experiences you got to have that a lot
Yeah.
of people never will have, and those experiences might be better than some of the experiences they had because yours were so authentic and so real, so raw, and you didn't have no damn money, so it
Yeah.
was just vibes.
But
You know what's crazy? I think that's really interesting because you would assume that someone that has or some level of expectation of power, and yet you're still in an experience of lack, which is like so crazy that you could have like it, and that also speaks to artists as they progress. Let's say Kendrick now, that man could have everything in the world, but he could still be going through things, and that's such a crazy self-concept. Like you're always in lack of something. You can't have it all.
and even in the diss track, he said, "I have PTSD."
Yeah.
Like, that shit's kind of deep. You know, like the way he's, because the way he could be responding could be a flight or fight thing. Like, yo, if it's up, then we're going to
Yeah,
war.
we're
Like,
going-
I'm prepared to die. Like, you don't know what's going on in his head.
Yeah, and that's like a
Get
real.
Pusha T involved, please.
Honestly,
Bro,
I just
hold
want
on,
Kendrick to
hold on.
respond.
Kanye West, Pusha T, Kendrick Lamar on a fucking Pharrell or Metro Boomin beat. That don't sound crazy, dude. That don't sound kind of crazy, dude.
Please,
That sounds like a great song to me.
That does sound like a
it
good
sounds
song.
like a great song, but it sounds like insanity.
It's supposed to be insanity.
It sounds like insanity. I love insanity though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Insanity.
speaking of insanity, not to diminish like the struggles of this artist in particular, but I wanted to speak about Van Gogh before. He was referenced a lot, and I think it's a good framework for how someone I feel like should be taken care of. The relationship that he had with his brother, that's often spoken about now in modern times, but was kind of like not reflected during like earlier studies of his work. But I think that kind of relationship of having a caretaker, especially as an artist, or finding a point person that like does take care of you, is like super important. And I feel like finding that, whether through like just having an accountability partner, also kind of helps too. And I find like that the most successful artists are people that are able to kind of have like a network, or at least people that are around them that are able to kind of like ground them a bit and kind of make them not feel, or kind of recognize them and like truly recognize them.
Yeah, be able to address them as the human being and not the artist all the time.
Yeah.
Address them as the person that they are, the person that you might have grown up with, the person that you met initially.
Yeah.
And not the image and idea
Of them.
that their fans have.
Yeah, and I think that's super important, because whatever artist that you see has an issue with like mental breakdowns publicly, or mental like kind of like anguish generally, has lost that person, or doesn't have, or never had the opportunity, or
Doesn't
wasn't
have the
afforded
community that they really need to be around them.
Yeah, like let's say, for instance, not to use like this as an example, but let's say for Kanye West, right? The grief of losing his mother, who was that point person that recognized him as a spirit, as a soul, as someone so near and dear, that aside from whatever, has a profound effect on the way that somebody makes and communicates their art. And you can see from the progression of his music that it became a certain image and ideal that, like, over time changed and morphed so differently from what originally was conceived when his mother was around.
Mm.
And that's like one example. There's like many examples in history where somebody either loses a core facet of their identity, or loses a person that can recognize their identity, where, let's say, that kind of concept is the main kind of struggle or anguish that they experience later on in their career. That's like super important.
What is your identity other than what other people see?
Sometimes it's how you see yourself.
Yeah.
It's how you view yourself.
But if I feel like if everybody sees you in a certain way, then you might have to identify with that, unless
depends on your stubbornness. Yeah, it depends on your stubbornness.
It depends on who you are. But that's an interesting point, because something I had written down as a response to the question. Negative ways art can negatively affect your mental health, and this may not be art directly. It may be attributed more to success. But even in some success, people still see it. But it's the amount of access, the amount of access it gives people to you. People, especially when you start to make a name for yourself, people sort of hear it and hear your music, see your art, in whatever form, and that can create a false sense of ownership.
Mm-hmm.
People feel like you owe them. So it's like when people start to invade your private space and saying, hey, sign this, hey, recite this verse, hey, spit a 16 for me, take this picture, that could definitely have a negative effect on you if you're trying to, spend time with your kids, if you're just trying to find some quiet time with your significant other, whatever. I think that really sort of causes people to question themselves and their art, and that sort of tips the balance from being that can tip the balance from being in a healthy mental state to being unhealthy.
Yeah. I mean, I had an instance where I was looking at, I was with family for the weekend, and like my cousin that I hadn't seen for a long time, like she was just like, oh yeah, like freestyle for us, like for a thing. And it was so funny because like I was down in the dumps before, like I came in, I was just like, dang, I really don't feel like the need, like I felt so disconnected with the thing, but kind of doing that kind of did inspire me to like bring light, because I feel like sometimes the artist needs to be reminded that they have the power in their art, like the thing does connect, and it's a push and pull sometimes.
That's a positive spin. I like that.
Yeah, sometimes it's a push and pull, but it is harmful, because like the scale of that, like that's family members as opposed to like random person on the street, like, oh, so you rap, oh, spit this thing. Sometimes it leads to funny moments, I'm not gonna lie. I went to open mic and they were like freestyle at the end. That was funny. because my friend's whole stand-up set was like, if you're making music, the first thing they tell you to do is just like perform for me, Dance Monkey, like do it right now
for free.
I remember going to a play with my homie, one of my longest friends, my brother, as in fact. Shouts out to David, if you ever hear
shout
this.
out to him.
He's gonna be in town next month. But anyway, I was, there were a bunch of actors, and he was into acting before me. I had joined sort of the acting thing later, but I was drawing at that time. And I remember they were introducing me, and somebody asked, "What do I do?" And I think he said, "Draw." And she slams like a pen and a piece of paper in front of me. She's like, "Draw something right now." And I was like, "Oh shit, where did that come from?"
Yeah.
It was really weird. And I kind of paused for a second, but I think the one of the acting coach or whatever that was there was like, "Oh, we don't have time for that one right now." He kind of got me out of that. It was really weird though, because as I've said before, drawing is something really personal to me, and not a lot of people in the past have like walked away with my drawings. That was something that I did for the longest behind closed doors. I shared it with like my my closest friends, but it wasn't something that I gave away. And so that was a really weird thing that somebody be like, "Yo, do this.
I feel
now.
like it's the
prove
same-
yourself."
I feel
Even
like
though
it's the
you've
same
been
dynamic.
practicing it for months and years, whenever somebody just demands it on the spot, it just throws you off a bit. It's like, wait, I do make art. Wait a minute, but you want to write?
Yeah.
Can I think?
I think that's a product of our culture too, and I think just a bit of human curiosity in general. People just kind of want to see like,
Yeah, just see your raw creativity right now. That where's your creativity at right this moment?
because like you can't.
But
no
that is,
matter-
I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of cool to see that, especially if like. But my thing is like the way you said it, like for someone to just pull up on you on the spot and say draw.
Yeah, this
it
person
just kind of throws you off.
First time meeting her.
yeah,
But I'm thinking about people in like Manhattan who pull people off the sidewalk like, "Oh, I'm gonna draw you."
Yeah.
Like you said no. I'm gonna art you. I'm gonna give you the art. I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna creativity, and you're gonna enjoy this.
And I
Yeah.
think it's telling because there's like two different spaces that the artist is in. Me, I was just drawing to discover things about myself and identify these feelings inside of me and express them. And then somebody like that is someone who's actively trying to get their art out and trying to, in some ways, maybe make money off of it or profit off of it.
Yeah.
It's two different spaces. It's interesting. And there's nothing wrong with profiting from your art. As a matter
no,
of fact.
I feel like
Nothing
you
wrong.
should.
Nigga, we trying over here.
We started.
we trying our hardest.
Yeah, I feel like every artist should be able to live off of their art.
But you should also, I feel like it's important to just make stuff,
Yeah.
and nobody sees it.
Every part of you can't be for sale.
Yeah,
Shout
Yep.
out to Yazin Bey.
Yes, and shout out to that episode, Selling Out,
Yes.
because we did talk about that.
Go listen to our old episodes, yo. Them shits is fire. All right, so my final question, which I told you to hold off on earlier, and then we'll get to the conclusions and thank yous.
I love this episode so much.
So, and I've asked this question before, and I'm going to ask this question again because I love the idea behind it. So, with artistic creativity, does it require suffering? Do you have to go through some shit to be great at being an artist?
if we look at the best artists, you should say yes. You look at Michael Jackson, well, they whooping his ass. Mikey, better hit that C note, boy. Better hit that C note, Mikey.
Damn.
The other four Jacksons is waiting for you. You know, look at Kanye. Kanye's pain has helped him in the way people have treated him throughout his life. He makes a lot of great music. If you look at, some people would question Drake's artistry because, you know, nigga was on Degrassi. You know, his life been good.
He was famous before rap.
Exactly. Like, a lot of people would bring into question his validity as an artist and question, like, his ghostwriters. Like, okay, you're questioning how much of this art is really him, because what struggles has he gone through in fucking Canada as a half Jewish guy? Like that's a huge part of his career. Is like, yo,
That's true.
Why?
He has to prove himself as a result.
yeah, and it's like a lot of.
But he's
I mean,
very
all
creative.
the pain, all the pain he talks about is heartbreak. So it's like, okay, shorty broke your heart. Cool, you could get another bitch tomorrow. You could get another bitch in 4 minutes. Drake, you could DM my shorty if you wanted to, and get like, who else is like who's a great well known artist. I'm gonna say Jules. Like, a lot of Jules' music is about him crying about some girl that broke his heart, and a lot of it is really good. A lot of it he really be talking shit, and he be saying some real shit. Like, here's a song called "Locomotives and Fake Hoes."
Oh my gosh,
That's
I
such a
love that
banger.
song. So
Locomotives
and she took
and
my
Fake Hoes.
T-shirt. Yo,
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one. You got to put me on.
that one's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie.
I think life in general, as we were saying, you can't always be happy. I think the sadness and the lows definitely play a huge part in your story, and like how you react in those low places that's you. That's really you. When how you are when you're happy, that's you. But how you are at the worst, that's a very true testament of what you're made of and what you are at your core. So, I think going through pain, I think you gotta get fucked up by something bad to really. I'll be honest, no, you gotta get fucked up by something bad to be making good music. Like, something gotta fuck you up bad at some point. For you to be the best artist, bro, something gotta fuck up your whole life. For you to get to that low, that way you can make crazier highs. Because from that low to that high is a huge difference.
I feel like pain is a part of the process, because I think okay, so we got to look at it this way. Art is like a reflection of okay, let's say art is equal to beauty, even though it's not. Let's just say it for like the sake of argument, right? And beauty is dealing with the aesthetics, and so you can look at something like that's grotesque but still find beauty in it, but then you can look at something very aesthetically pleasing and still find beauty in it. And so as an artist, you're able to pick from both baskets. And as a person, you're going to experience both the grotesque and the super beautiful. And so kind of like, you know how in Inside Out there's like a mix of memories, and that's the core of the thing, that you don't experience single emotions, you experience complex networked emotions. That complex network experience is going to inspire and create your art. And so the beauty of art and the beauty of one's soul is more than likely going to be more apparent when you're dealing and talking about topics of suffering. But even in the feel-good, happy music, if you have a little portion of the soul part, which is like looking at and admiring and finding the little space where there is something is beautiful and something is not, or something is considered beautiful or not, and you kind of pluck that out, you can just have like that kind of realization without having the most tragic of circumstances. More often than not, we do see it from artists though that like have been through stuff, and like as a person that like creates and tries to not create from like tragic things, but tends to just kind of like have a little like instances of melancholy or nostalgia in it. It is really difficult to create art without having been through something or having to deal with complex emotions. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to err on the side that you don't have to, but it's more often the case.
They gotta fuck you up.
It's more
If you want
often,
that #1 Grammy, they gotta fuck up your whole day, bro.
Yeah.
it's
You
more
wanna-
it's
you
more
wanna
often
make
the case that you have been through something just by
Yo.
nature of being the artist.
Look at Adele, man.
And I feel
Somebody broke her heart bad.
Yeah.
But she made billions off of that pain.
Yo,
I think it's so you're right, but I think
they gotta violate you. If you want to be the greatest artist ever, let somebody completely violate you and then take that pain and turn it into a fucking album. Thank you.
nah, but honestly, no. I'm trying to break apart from it. But But yeah, I think these complex emotions and everything you can get away with not being the most painful thing. But I think it's like the profession precedes, like, you know, that feeling, because you're gonna be isolated and all that type of stuff, to even just by nature of being different in the sense that you want to be doing something creative as opposed to just consuming. And so that kind of first branch is gonna give you experiences that are unique, that are just different from the norm, that's going to lead to suffering because of alienation. And so that alienation is experienced by all artists, whether they like it or not. Drake felt outcasted, and so his music, it reflects that kind of outcast mentality. And so even though he didn't go through the same type of traumas Kendrick went through
as a Jew in Canada, as a Canadian Jew on the grass,
he went through a divorce with his parents. That was very traumatic for him, I imagine. As a kid that went through divorce is very traumatic.
I went through divorce. That shit was not traumatic.
Matter of fact, wait, what age were you?
What age were you?
Bro, I was 15, man. They
separated.
You was older.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me tell you why this might have been the greatest divorce situation of all time. Because my dad right now is in no, he's actually gone his way here, but he lives in Trinidad. So if I want to go to Trinidad, I can go to Trinidad. And my mom stays in Jamaica for 6 months out of the time. So it's like, yo, bro, I could go to Jamaica and I could go to Trinidad. And if y'all stay together, I would have only been able to stay in Queens. So who really got the short end of the stick and
My
who
man's
really
is
benefited from this
real.
relationship? I'm not gonna lie.
Yo, if y'all break up,
If you have two black parents,
did you
from two
break up
different-
your parents?
End the podcast right now. Cut the mics. Cut the mics.
Yo, the way he looked.
The nigga figured it out. He figured it out.
My bad, dog. We gonna edit that out in post. And that is, if you're listening, he's got houses all over the place. But no. I think I'm probably more agrees with you when it comes to that question. I don't think you necessarily have to have to suffer or go through something traumatic. I think it's the emotions are more of a spectrum, and so I think that all great art comes from honesty. Stevie Wonder as one of the greatest songs ever made, and it's a beautiful song that makes me feel great every time I listen to it. There's scores of like Motown songs, people singing about love and happiness. Shit, Alvin. I didn't mean to do that, but you get it. So I think I don't think it's necessarily just the suffering. I think it's just the honesty about the situation, that intense emotion, whether it be depression or whether it be happiness or whether it be insecurity or whether it be confidence. It's just, as long as it's honest, I think that honesty. I think that honesty and traveling and that honesty makes it great. What you got to say?
The face. Listeners, the face he's looking at is so funny right now.
If your friends' Spotify streams are low, push them in front of a car and watch how shit changes next year. Watch how life changes for y'all next year, bro. Bro. No, seriously. You want shit to happen? You gotta make it happen yourself. Get it popping right now.
Is that why you think Kanye made Through the Wire? Like,
yo, imagine he crashed the car on purpose.
Yo, that's not how it works, man. I think life itself is.
If you want instant fame, follow our tips and tricks. Right?
Yeah, please don't do it. Hold.
Please don't push your friends.
I'm not supposed to be here. It's not liable
when you
for
do
any
it,
trains pushings and car pushings and accidents.
I'm doing this for you.
For the fame, for the clout, for the riches.
Yo, conclusions, final thoughts. What's up, y'all?
I think to be the best to be a great artist, you need to suffer. Now, honestly, I don't know. You can make a lot of really great music without any pain, but I think those ups and downs of life help you have
and a little sauce.
Yeah, just help you have like a really realistic outlook and And also, you're also gonna have you're also gonna be able to talk from a position of, oh yeah, this happened, but keep your head up and keep going.
Yeah.
Like, you wanna inspire people, and you wanna have them feeling positive things, even if the song is a little sad and downtone here. You want them to ultimately end up at the end of the song feeling better than they did when they started.
Yeah, I think that's a great conclusion. I think experience. I think the human experience is unique and different for every person, and no one will exist in your subjectivity, and that itself is very lonely and alienating. And so,
But it's also individual. Like,
and it's also
you're always
beautiful.
gonna be you. I like the individuality of the world. Like, I like how everybody's different, and I can appreciate. Because if everybody was the same, this shit would be boring. Like,
Yeah,
if
that's
everybody's
true.
different, I can appreciate your differences. You might be able to teach me something with what's completely different about you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
and I think with that kind of mentality, I think that art will forever be a part of our history. I think the nature of making art generally will just get better. The circumstances of doing it and trying to find the time to do it is definitely something that we should invest more time. But I think artists should have somebody that helps them mentally, and reach out for your friends. That's my conclusion. Reach out to people that you haven't talked to in a moment. Reach out to people that you don't know, and also recognize some of the illusions of things that separate us. And yeah, and just you don't have to make art all the time. It's okay if you're the artist. You're still going through metamorphosis and changes.
Well said. Well, first, I like to say we here at I'm Not Supposed to Be Here podcast are not health professionals.
Yeah.
But if you are going through something mentally, please do seek out health professionals. I won't say much on my conclusions. I'll just say that if you're going through something, even if you don't seek out a health professional, you don't have to suffer alone. And I think the fact that we all suffer is evidence of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll jump right into my thank yous. I want to thank Dominique, Domisha, and Deontay, my siblings.
That is so far that everybody has
a
a
D
D
name,
for their name,
except
and then
for my
you're-
black
You see,
ass.
this is why I would be the black sheep. Because why the fuck my name did? Why my name wasn't? Why the hell I named me Trent when everybody else name began with a D?
I think my dad ran out of D names. But anyway,
Nigga
yo,
said, Trent. That was the beginning of why he feels the way he does today.
yo, that's my uncle's name too. He just looked over at my uncle. Oh yeah, hey.
That's a good name.
But straight up, yo, thank you to all my siblings. Yo, I love y'all. Y'all help craft me into be the any greatness in me. I think is in due part to you guys, and also
I would never say that to my siblings. I'll be so honest. But go ahead.
So shout out to them. They're
Yeah,
really
shout out
great.
to them.
They're really great.
Trent is a real guy. Trent is an honest person.
yo, shout out to my siblings.
That's why he
Also,
makes amazing art.
I don't think I've ever thanked her, but I'm gonna thank her. I don't know if she wants her name docs like that, but I'm gonna do it. Shouts out to Lysandra Ward. She was my psychologist in school. She was the mental health professional that I got to see that was paid for by the school, and she helped me out a lot. Like I was going through some shit, and she helped me in the creative process as well when I was trying to figure myself out, when I felt alone, when I didn't feel like anyone understood me. She helped me craft, identify, and formulate my issues so that I could put them into my art. So shouts out to you, Miss Ward. I hope wherever you are, you're doing phenomenal. Sage?
Shout out to the people, since we're on my campus, shout out to the people and the future health professionals that hopefully circumnavigate all the kind of craziness of the system and find, the joy in their job. And shout out to reinventing yourself, and shout out to my friends and family that kind of helped me out. yeah, and shout out to Art for getting you through and relearning and rediscovering art. As like the last couple of days, rediscovering art and rediscovering my love for things. Schoolboy Q has a song and he's just like, back in love with this shit, back in love with this shit, and he really hits the nail on the head for certain times as an artist when you're so disassociated with the things that you used to like a lot. And so trying to navigate through that, finding professionals. Thank you to everybody. Any thank yous?
Shout out to reggae music on my balcony.
Hey.
Shout out to Trent. Shout out to Christian.
Yes.
We had a great conversation. Some good laughs.
Thank you for being on the pod.
Thank
man.
you for being here. You
Yeah,
really,
man, I'm
you
ready
really
to-
brought an energy to it.
Y'all let me know when y'all doing the next
You're most
podcast.
definitely welcome back.
I'm pulling up.
Him and Jules on the podcast would be
Oh
so
my
funny
God.
because you know what's
that
funny?
Cameroonian crooner.
Did we just start another podcast, B? Yo.
He said Cameroonian crooner is hilarious. Yo,
My man be crooning though.
oh my gosh.
But yeah, and with that said, you have been a courteous, invisible audience.
Oh, that's so fire. I'm gonna send this to him.